Hello, students. I hope you're all handling the quarantine well. I've got up the week 9 module. It took me a little bit longer than I intended. So I've extended out the due dates a few extra days. But as long as you did the reading, you should be all right. Um, Let me see. So this will be the last week that we contrast the Hart and Dworkin as we've done so many times. Here I find in this particular week, they actually seem to be in a broader agreement than they have been previously. So we're going to be looking at Hart's model, and especially the rule of recognition is front and center, and how he considers a legal system to arise and to come into existence and how that functions. And I found it to be kind of interesting to see the contrast between uh, a strict definition for whether or not there's a legal system. There is a legal system if they have a rule of recognition, and cases where there's not a strict definition. I mean, where there's not a strict definition for something, and that is whether or not they have the rule of recognition. So whether or not they have the rule of recognition depends on it depends on other factors, and there's a lot of a gray area as it kind of moves over from a moment when you just have rules and conventions and maybe punishments to a moment when you really have a rule of recognition and therefore you have a legal system. So it's something that progressively emerges and potentially can progressively pass away as we no longer have these means for establishing validity. And then we're going to look at the first part of a text of Dworkin. And in that first part of the text of Dworkin, oh, I touched my face. In that first part of the text of Dworkin, we're going to be looking at how he understands the interpretive role of a judge. And we're going to be paying a special attention to the notion of integrity. I think I've really begun to appreciate only progressively how important that concept of integrity is to Dworkin, why he says law as integrity. He means both the moral sense and the sense of being complete. All right, so work through the material. I'll be on the chat room today from 3 to 4:45, and also on Monday, Wednesday. I do from 12 to 4, and during your class period on Thursday. Yeah, so come into the chat room. You can actually just say hello if you have really no real questions to ask. If you have questions, that would be wonderful. I'd really love to be able to address some of the questions. All right, well, good luck with the material of this week. And again, I hope everybody's well. I understand that we all have a ton of distractions, and I do, of course. Both of my children are, of course, extremely concerned and overseas. And so, we'll all work through this together as best we can. And all right, I look forward to seeing some of the work that you do.